Hello, I'm Ed Parrott here with Knoxville Real Estate Weekly. We have an unusual market. Record high prices are going along with a sales volume that is on par with what we saw from 2008 through 2010. Mortgage rates are at a 20-year high, and Black Knight's home price index jumped a stunning 1.5% month over month in July, which is considerably more than the 0.7% month over month for both May and June. If prices continue on this pace, we can expect to see an increase of 7.5% for the year in 2023. Also of significance is the fact that for new mortgages, the average monthly principal and interest payment alone is now standing at $2,306. This doesn't include taxes and insurance. This is the highest on record, and the trend is likely to continue. As a result of this, many people are being locked into their current home, and that's one reason we have the inventory crisis we have right now. Those people with a current low interest rate that would like to sell but feel they just can't, and in many cases they just can't, are staying put. So we have few homes to sell. I was speaking with a mortgage broker I work with often a few days ago, and she was telling me that she is seeing increases in loan payments of about $800 per month for people selling an older home at a lower interest rate and buying a newer one at the higher interest rate. As a result, she said, a lot of people just cannot qualify for the new mortgage because of the higher payment. Also, it's interesting that loan delinquency rates are falling. They've dropped from 2.9% to 2.6% of the outstanding loans that have any sort of late payment at all. This appears to be because existing homeowners have seen such a large increase in their equity, and they're locked in at the low interest rate they got a few years ago, so they're being extra careful to make sure they're up to date on their payments. This not only prevents them from facing a possible foreclosure situation, but of course it helps their credit rating also. Even one late payment is going to hurt the credit rating. On the jobs front, the BLS reports that we saw an increase of 187,000 jobs for the month of August, which was a bit more than expected. At the same time, however, unemployment rate jumped from 3.5% to 3.8%, which is a significant increase for a single month. Also of note, our neighbors to the north saw their GDP drop by 0.2%. While this isn't devastating, it is a drop, and far from the 1.2 to 1.5% rate of growth that they were predicting. And while the US GDP remains in positive territory, it's not as high as we would like. I'm not sure we're going to see a recession soon, but we certainly could. Hopefully, if we do see one, it will not be severe. Back to the housing data, the inventory level of existing homes for sale currently stands just above 669,000 units. New listings for the month rose 3.5% month over month, and that's significant because there's usually a drop in August. So there's some slight relief, but we're still down 45 to 50% from pre-pandemic levels. For the Knoxville market specifically, the inventory level at the end of August was 3,900 units. But if we look back a couple of years, 2019, we stood at 5,900 units at the end of August, but even that is down compared to what we used to see. We go back to 2016, the end of August, we had 9,000 houses for sale in the Knoxville market. And of course, as we've said, the big reason for the number of units being down is the high mortgage rates. This has two effects. For the first thing, it kind of by default makes it a seller's market because there's very few things out there for people to buy, and there is still demand even though it's getting harder to qualify for a mortgage. But the mortgage rates have been persistently stubborn. Last week we saw them drop from their high of 7.49% down to near 7.0%, but by the end of the week they had rebounded, and Friday's number was 7.33%. For existing home sales, it looks like we're going to finish 2023 with somewhere between 4.0 and 4.3 million houses sold. That's a decrease of somewhere between 14 to 20%, depending on where it settles out, from the 5.0 million units sold in 22. And beyond that is a decrease of between 30 and 34% from the 6.1 million units sold in 21. The last time we had sales of 4.2 million houses for the single year was 2010. At that time, the median price was $225,000. Currently, the median price stands at $416,000. By 2016, we sold 5.5 million homes, and in 2019, the 5-year average was 5.4 million. Starting in 2020, we had some pandemic-driven sales, so it jumped from 5.3 million to 5.6 in 2020, and then in 2021 it continued to jump on up to 6.1 million homes sold. But this is not a new benchmark, this is an aberration. In essence, we were stealing from future sales. So if we look at our 5.4 million average in 2019, I believe we're going to settle back into that territory. So in 2020, we stole 0.2 million units, and in 2021, it was 0.7 million units sold above the average, for a total of 900,000 units extra. In 22, we gave back 400,000 sales, and it looks like it's going to be about 1.2 million this year, putting us in the hole about 0.6 million homes. However, as I've said, I believe demand is still there, and what we need is easing of the interest rates. This will stimulate supply because existing homeowners will no longer feel locked in to their low mortgage, and they will be ready to sell. This will help to cause it to swing from a seller's market to a buyer's market. And this has already started, actually. You can see it in the statistics here in Knoxville. Although the average list price is still increasing, the average list price at the time of sale has dropped about 5%, and I'll have to look it up. I don't have that number in my brain, but I'll do another video on that one. And the actual closing price is running, if I remember correctly, about 92% of the original list price and about 97% of the list price at the time the contract was written. I believe we may well see some easing in the interest rates in months to come. There's a couple of reasons I think this. Number one, the jobs market is cooling off. Last month we had 187,000 new jobs added, which is significantly lower than prior months. If I remember correctly, and again, I don't have all the numbers in my brain, but I'm thinking in June it was 450,000 new jobs added. So quite the drop there. Also, the members of the Fed have been making statements about they have, quote, done enough. Who is it? Bostic up in, unless you know, Bostic's in Atlanta, and the Cleveland, it's a woman up in Cleveland. What is her name? But anyway, both Bostic and the Cleveland lady, and the ex-Fed president from Boston, he's retired about, I don't know, a year ago, something like that. But all three of those have said that they have had enough tightening. Now, whether Jerome Powell is in that camp or not, I think maybe he has made some slight indication that maybe even he's had enough. But, I do believe it's going to back off here a little bit. This next meeting is on the 20th of this month, so that's 10 days away. I think we will not see a rate increase on the 20th, but let's tune in next Sunday on the 17th and see what it looks like 3 days before the meeting instead of 13 days before the meeting. Meister, that's her name, Loretta Meister up in Cleveland. Well, the memory ain't what it used to be. So, in any case, we're still on the wild ride that I've mentioned for the last couple of weeks. But maybe the Bronco might start to settle down just a little bit. We'll just have to wait and see. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you got something out of this. If you did, press like and subscribe, and I look forward to talking with you next week.